Hello, Taurus. This is your reading for the entire year of 2016. Whoa. And I want to thank all the new subscribers. Why is this Knight of Swords peeking out? Okay. I want to thank all the new subscribers. Um, Knight of Swords, it might show up again. And the people who've contacted me for readings. Now, as I do this general reading for the entire year for all Tauruses, clearly um, this reading is going to have very broad strokes. And so specifically, it's not going to address everyone's personal situation exactly. Things like, you know, um, usually I use the major arcana to look at what those general energies are before I get to the more specific cards. So we're talking about events like faith and faithfulness and honesty. What do we have here? We have the King of Pentacles. All these pentacles just came out for you, Taurus. And I think this is a good sign because the earth is your element. And then we have Seven of Pentacles. And then we have this Nine of Pentacles. So when I do these general readings for the entire year, and I'm going to pull 12 cards, a card for each month, I think it's important to remember that you should not look at this reading as I'm going to have a terrible year or I'm going to have a great year. Also, you have to, and this is important, especially for those of you who are looking at these tarot videos to get insight on a relationship, if a relationship is going to work out or if someone's coming back into your life. It can be very addictive to watch all these videos on YouTube, these readings, and trying to find the answers or to get some confirmation that something is going to happen. But more than predictions, the tarot is also about guidance and clarity and wisdom. And it's important to know that, if you have like this question, because I get so much of them when I'm doing my readings, is this person coming back into my life? Or are we going to have a relationship? Okay, we have a Knight of Cups and a Queen of Swords. Okay, I'm going to cut the cards in just a few more seconds. The question is not whether this person's coming back. It's a question of, is this person meant to be in my life? Is this something that is for my highest good? And, if you're concerned, okay, this is Nine of Swords. If you're focused on trying to make a relationship work with someone, the universe, the tarot could be telling you, maybe it's better to let that relationship go. There's no point in having that person come back into your life and bring unhappiness. And I think that is also the main goal of tarot, is to give you clarity on the happiness that you want. Well, how do you get the happiness that you want? What are the things or obstacles that you need to address? Anyway, we already have 6 cards, January through June. I'm going to pull the other 6 cards. The next card is the Devil in reverse. Then we have Knight of Swords in reverse. You're getting swords with pentacles. That's interesting. Oh, we have 10 of Cups. That's a good card. We have a King of Swords, a King, Queen, and Knight of Swords here. Taurus. That is in all these pentacles. And then we have Knight of Wands. And then Five of Swords. Okay. So Taurus, just remember that this is not necessarily about, having a good or bad year. Also, I think I was saying in relationships, you need to look at this like what is for my highest good ultimately. Sometimes the tarot will take your question and they're like, well, before you can get to point A or have this thing that you want, this is what also needs to happen, or here are some obstacles that are getting in the way. That doesn't mean good news is not coming or you're not going to have what you want. But life is never simple. It would be wonderful if everything was cut and dry in regards to our relationships, in regards to money, things like that. Anyway, looking at the first three cards, Taurus, you have very strong energies with Pentacles, three Pentacles, and this definitely spells out prosperity, making plans. Seven of Pentacles is in your February, the month of February, and this addresses making some long-term plans, revising. So this is next to King of Pentacles. And this could actually represent a person. And this King of Pentacles is very logical, very wise. He's a ruler. Kings always rule. They're always the active energy. They get things together. They direct their energy towards the element, which is Pentacles, which is money, which is logic, which is being grounded and stable in the material world. And so January looks very, very good with this king. And then we go into this Seven of Pentacles where we start revising and looking over things. It can also mean compromising and trying to see what is it that we need to change in order to move in a positive direction. And then you have this Nine of Pentacles, which is abundance and prosperity, the good life. And so whenever you see these pentacles upright, definitely there's abundance and prosperity, but also the other energy of pentacles has a lot to do with being grounded and stable and with your money and in the material world. Also, Taurus, you only have one major arcana, and I'm looking carefully because in the last reading, I think I missed I kept missing the strength card. You only have one, and that is the devil in reverse. And the devil is primal. It can mean sexual desire. It can mean material desire in the material world. It's a very strong physical energy. It can, in a good way, the devil does have positive connotations. It can mean unleashing a strong physical energy. Um, let's say that there's a person who's always been defenseless, who's let people bully her or make her submissive. This energy of the devil is sort of like stop thinking, get out of your head and start taking action and manifesting and breaking free in a very sudden and bold and aggressive way. But the dominant impressions of the devil, because you can see this is not a pentacle here. This star is upside down. It's in the direction of, representing the horn. Not necessarily, many people do associate this where this type of symbol is associated with the goat. And so this devil can represent dysfunction. It can represent addiction when it's upright. It can represent letting your carnal desires get away from you, because you see this man and woman are chained together. They're in bondage, but it is reversed. So I'll get to this a little later. This is happening in the month of July, to where there is some type of struggle to get out of a negative situation. So, there is a lot of prosperity throughout the year that will start at the beginning of the year. That doesn't, and also as we look at this yearly reading, don't assume that these energies are just located just for the month. It could mean that these energies start to emerge in January, February, and March. And so it seems as if some of you are looking for guidance on your career or money, it seems as if there's going to be a huge jump start at the beginning of the year. That maybe you're going to get finances together. You're going to be in a much stable place. You'll be able to enjoy life by the time March rolls around. And we could also say this is you, seeing that this is the king. He's an earth sign. This is you making your plans, getting things together, making important decisions. And kings do that as well. Kings definitely make decisions. Queens are supportive in those decisions. Their energy is more passive. So the first 3 months in the material world, or even as far as logic and rationalization and thinking things through, you're definitely in your element, Taurus, and you're definitely going to be starting this new grounding and stability for the first 3 months of the year. Now, heading into April, May, and June, um, once again, you have so many nights. You have 1, 2, 3 nights, and you have 2 kings, and you have a queen. Now, could this represent all of these could represent people? Absolutely. Some of them could represent the same person, and those energies are changing. These swords are pretty interesting, because these swords, we have a queen of swords. We start off with a knight of cups, and the knight of cups can represent a person who is a daydreamer. He's very emotional. He gets in this person. It's not necessarily, it can be a he or a she, man or a woman. The knight of cups can represent someone who gets infatuated pretty easily. They love being in love. Also, because they're emotional, and their emotions are the dominant feeling, sometimes they're not quite grounded all the time. Although knights take action. Knight of Cups, knights are all about action. Kings rule, and the queens are nurturing. They're the mother figure. So when a knight takes action on emotions, sometimes the Knight of Cups can be a very romantic person. They love being in love. And this could also represent a water sign. It can represent Pisces, Cancer, or Scorpio. And so this Knight of Cups, you see him approaching this Queen of Swords. And this Queen of Swords is a woman who's older, very wise. Um, she's been through a lot. That's one interpretation that I've read in some tarot books. But also, the Queen of Swords is someone you can't give her a bunch of BS. The Queen of Swords is able to make decisions easily. She knows intuitively what's best for her. She's about finding the truth. Because she's a passive energy as opposed to this King of Swords who's coming up a little later. The Queen of Swords is able to receive information, and she just knows whether the information is correct or not. She's always able to look out for her highest good. And like I said, she's a very wise woman who can um, make the right decisions. Um, and she can be a little judgmental, but she's very much an intellectual. And so we go from this energy of love and daydreams to getting um, to a person who is more a little bit wise, who snaps out of this energy of daydreams and love and infatuation to where there's a little bit more wisdom and cautiousness. So that's in May. But by the time we get to June, there is a situation that, for Nine of Swords, this is someone who's very worried and in mental turmoil about a certain situation. They can't sleep. Um, they don't know what to do. Um, if you've gone through a situation where someone breaks up with you, this Nine of Swords can represent that kind of turmoil. Also, something that is devastating, and you don't know how you're going to resolve the issue. Keep in mind, Nine of Swords, the next card after that is Ten of Swords. And Ten of Swords indicates something that is now reached the lowest point. Usually, if there's something that's completely hopeless, that, for instance, maybe there was a breakup and you have to move on with your life. After Ten of Swords, then you get a new cycle that begins, usually with Ace of Swords. And so this Nine of Swords here, there's going to be something, an obstacle, and for you, relationship, for those of you looking for insight on love and relationships, um, June, earlier in the year, things might be stable for the first 3 months, but we get these clashes of energy between love and daydreams, and then you being alert to a specific situation and having to make a judgment. But in June, things might be a little bit disappointing, and you might end up being very worried about that situation. It could also represent the energy of people around you, but just know that in June, there's going to be this dominant energy of worry and disappointment and mental pain, basically. Now, you can always make different decisions. Now that you know that this is something that might possibly occur in June, I think that you should take that information on board and sort of reevaluate, not necessarily like, how can I avoid this? But I think it's just going back to what I'm seeing here are a clash of energies here and a judgment or decision that will need to be made. I feel like this Queen of Swords is going to have to deal with a decision that someone else makes that might have you very worried. And so these 3 months, I'm seeing a clashing of energies that leads to this, a clash between two people that leads to this Nine of Swords, where someone is very emotionally and mentally distraught. Psychological pain. Okay. But we get into, when we look at the very next month for February, it seems as if some of the negative energy and the demons that show up in the Nine of Swords are going to be subdued in July. So June, there's a lot of worry, a lot of, it could be, in one way, because the Nine of Swords goes into the Devil in reverse, I see this as someone dealing with an old pattern or an old disappointment, like another failure of a relationship. And they're like, oh no, has this happened to me again? Or they're dealing with something that they've always struggled with. And that struggle comes back in June. But in July, because we have the Devil in reverse, there seems to be a conquering of that negative energy, and it's subdued. At the same time, we get another sword here, Knight of Swords, and this is in opposite to Queen of Swords. He's reflecting the other direction from Queen of Swords. He's in reverse. Now, the Queen of Swords, I've already said the Queen is someone who is able, she's mentally very sharp, a very smart person. And the Knight of Swords, knights take action. The Knight of Swords is someone who, when this card is upright, this is someone who, this is an energy of someone who is always seeking the truth. This is someone who can be very charismatic. This represents Libra men, anyone who's an air sign. So we're looking at Aquarius, Gemini, and Libra. And so this Knight of Swords can represent someone who's very charismatic, very smart and intelligent as well, very good with communication. But when it's in the negative, this can be someone who is playing games, who plays a lot of head games, who can mess with your head, who can be very manipulative, verbally abusive. And that's a worst case scenario. But also, if a Knight of Swords is in reverse, this can represent someone who's inconsistent with their communication, who is, someone who doesn't return messages, someone who disappears and who can be very judgmental, very defensive. They put up walls. They sort of have these defensive walls to where they're not very emotional, and they don't allow their emotions to come out. This could be someone who has been hurt in the past by relationships, and they're like, well, now I'm not going to be hurt again. I'm just going to put up these mental and psychological walls. A lot of psychological issues going on. And it can also represent someone who has a lot of anger. And so this Knight of Swords is someone, when it's in reverse, it can represent someone who psychologically acts out, and they can be very passive aggressive as well. That's a worst case scenario. Um, the best case scenario when a Knight of Swords is in reverse is someone who's going to not be available for communication. Communication issues are going to be very difficult with someone who's a Knight of Swords in reverse. So where do we get this Ten of Cups from that just came right after all this turmoil? And I think that this Ten of Cups, it represents the energy of a home life or family. And it could also represent a good point in the relationship. Ten of Cups, the number 10, represents the end of a cycle where you find happiness. And it seems to be something that's in response to all this turmoil that happened here, that we have these competing energies. Well, we have a Knight of Cups with Queen of Swords. We have the balance of emotional, the dominant emotional energy. We get a little bit more cautious, but at the same time, there seems to be some underlying problem that is causing all this turmoil and communication issues. But it seems as we get to the month of September, this is July, this is August, this is September, there seems to be some type of emotional resolution here. 10 means you're at the end of the cycle, and then after that, you begin with the ace. And so it could very well mean that there is, after all of this turmoil, that there is some resolution, um, and a happy outcome to all of this that was happening the 5 months prior during the summer. This, and clearly spring summer is going to be a little bit turbulent for you. By the time fall comes around, I think you're going to find your happy place, Taurus. Now, last 3 months, we have King of Swords. And so we go from Queen of Swords to Knight of Swords to King of Swords. And once again, all of these kings and knights and queens, and these are like half of all of your 12 cards. This could definitely mean relationship issues. And because you only have one major arcana card, Taurus, it seems as if throughout the year, there are going to be a lot of relationship issues, and that you're going to be working out with someone. Doesn't have to be romantic. It can definitely mean family and friends. And if you're looking at this as a career reading, this definitely means that at work, um, there are going to be some issues with the people you work with, that, you know, the relationships and how you work together will need to be resolved. A lot of competing energies between people and relationships for you throughout the year. And so when we head into October, November, December, we have this King of Swords here. The king is upright. So the king is wise. And I think that maybe there's an issue with making decisions that you're trying to work out with someone. Someone needs to start making better decisions. And maybe this turbulence, it could still be different people here. But this King of Swords means that all these energies with swords, the King of Swords is going to start being active. We're ruling now. We're not necessarily, um, we're making the decisions we need to make. A king can also mean not only ruling, but guiding and counseling. And so this could be someone who's very much in any suit, a king, queen, knight, or page. This is someone whose energy is basically on communication and on the mental, psychological energies. And this King of Swords, um, when this king makes a decision, he sticks to that decision. He's very confident in what he's saying. The king is also about discerning the truth, and he actively, this could be, for instance, in the real world, this king could represent a judge, a professor, um, someone in a position of authority, and kings represent authority. So this communication, the decision making, there's going to be an energy of authority that starts to emerge by the time October comes around. And of course, October is usually predominantly Libra. Near the end, it turns, the last few days, the last week, it's Scorpio energy. But this king of Swords is very appropriate for the month of October because October represents Libras, who are air signs, and swords represent air. So there's going to be some type of judgment, or once again, taking a step or making an important decision. And so we get into this. November brings us a Knight of Wands, and Wands represents, Wands are fire, and fire, this Knight of Wands can be someone who is very loyal and passionate. And fire can be a very intense energy. This Knight of Wands is focused. He goes out to get what he wants. As I said, they can be very confident. A lot of stepping in and taking control. And so after this King of Swords and making a decision, it seems like there's going to be this new energy of taking action on a decision. It might be a little bit too hasty because Knight of Wands, if this represents a person, these Knight of Wands, they can be focused on one thing for a few weeks and then the next thing they completely forget it. This is such a quick and fast energy. It can represent someone who makes a very quick decision and maybe without thinking. But this King of Swords indicates there's going to be a lot of forethought and thinking and consideration before this Knight of Wands just swoops in for the month of November. Now, as you can see, this Five of Swords, you see the man with two swords, and three other people have put their swords down. And he's facing this Knight of Wands. This Knight of Wands is facing the King. And so maybe this is another competing energy to where this knight is approaching this King of Swords with this quick, impetuous energy, like, I want to have it now. And so when we get to this Five of Swords indicates a struggle or a fight or a conflict. And you see this man who has three of the swords, and the other two people, they've walked away from the fight. And note that they're facing the water. So this also implies an emotional struggle. I think that in December, this means that this King of Swords is facing off with the energy of this Knight of Wands and saying, hold on, not so quick. We're not going to rush into this immediately. This could be two partners. This could be two partners negotiating a decision about buying a house. Two partners having a conflict in the family, who might be fighting over something. And it seems as if this fight or struggle or conflict is about this energy of, let's think this through. The Knight of Wands wants to move forward. Someone wants to move forward and probably move forward a little bit too quickly. And then the energy of the swords comes back to where maybe what wins out is like, no, we're not going to head into this too quickly. We need to stop. And this King of Swords wins the battle. Or you might win the battle, Taurus, as far as moving forward too quickly. And this could also have to do with setting up or establishing a new home. It could definitely mean family issues, and the conflict within the family or the home has a lot to do with two people wanting two different things in the family struggles or issues. And I think that whoever this Knight of Wands is, they're not going to win this struggle. That this King of Swords with the thinking things through is going to win out over this Knight of Wands. And the result will be a winning. this dominant energy of thinking things through, being wise about the decisions we make. That is the energy that's going to win out over this conflict between the King of Swords and the Knight of Wands. But it definitely feels that this Ten of Cups, that even just know that this isn't about everything being all bad. It just means that there's going to be some type of struggle or conflict coming up for you where you will still find happiness, you will still be living life basically, but there's going to be some type of struggle or conflict with you finding or having a stable home, a stable family, or even a stable relationship. And near the end of December, it seems as if you might actually win that battle, that all these struggles that you've been going through the spring and summer, you will end up winning that battle. And as I said before, six of your cards are court cards. And so there's definitely this struggle with relationships with people in your life. So this doesn't have to be a love relationship. It can definitely mean family. It can definitely mean coworkers. But I think, Taurus, you should be prepared you want stability, Taurus. You are a very grounded person. You see the issues immediately. You don't like the drama. Um, Someone might be bringing the drama. And so, um, it seems as if throughout the year, as you negotiate relationships and try to get stability within your relationships with people and your situation, that this Five of Swords, I think it definitely means that you're going to win a conflict. Now, because I know someone who's a Taurus, and this person is someone that you just, Tauruses, they represent the energy of the bull. They will stand their ground. I know that for sure. And I think you will be able to stand your ground and handle a lot of these issues. And this Five of Swords is right next to this Ten of Cups. We have these knights who are bringing this active energy, who are rushing forward. And I think, Taurus, you're all about stability. And so I think you're going to be able to conquer a lot of these hiccups and obstacles with people that are coming your way. Okay. So that is what might definitely be coming up for you in 2016. It's all about relationships with people and knowing where your boundaries are and where you're going to draw the line. And there might be someone who's bringing a lot of drama or causing a lot of drama. And I think it's going to be about, let's stop the drama, and it'll be about you defining your boundaries so that you take responsibility for how you feel and other people take responsibility for how they feel, which I think is definitely part of this Ten of Cups, finding that emotional happiness and stability that you want. Okay, so I hope this was helpful for you, Taurus. But as always, if you want more insight and clarity, you can just contact me for a personal reading. I also offer email readings. Look in my description to see the services I offer. But I'm I'm hoping that this gives you some sense of a direction of what might be coming up for you in 2016. So I hope you've had a wonderful holiday season. And January 2016 readings are coming up. So obviously, these are all representing each month of the year. January will definitely give you more insight about what's going on with this King of Pentacles. So in the next couple of weeks, watch out for that, Taurus. So Take care, and I hope you continue enjoying your holiday season and that you have a wonderful new year.